So, hello and welcome, beautiful people of YouTube. I am Shell, aka Akasha Love. That is my spirit name and channel name. And this YouTube channel, if you are new to this channel, it's all about the universe, which is the universe inside of you, opening up the inner universe to the outer universe and managing your inner universe, so your inner connection with yourself in a healthy way, healthy and constructive way, so that you can thrive in the outer world. So that is the mission and the goal of this channel. Just a little bit about me. I am a qualified yoga teacher and meditation teacher. I have done my 10,000 hours of meditation. I started a meditation practice in the year 2005, and since then I meditate every day for at least half an hour a day. I've completed 4 silent meditation retreats, Vipassana retreats. I'm also a facilitator for silent meditation retreats. I also facilitate yoga retreats and radical self-love retreats. And I'm also an artist and a musician. I'm based here in Australia, but I also offer events in Bali and other parts of the world. So I recently made a video about neediness. So the idea behind this video, I'll put a link up here or up here, was that what if we can own our neediness and reframe that word to flip it and make it a positive thing? What if instead of it being a derogatory term, calling somebody needy, what if we could make it a positive thing? What if we can flip that term on its head and make it positive, that we know what our needs are and we're able to ask for them to be met? So today I just wanted to talk about some of the reasons why it might be challenging or difficult for us to meet our needs for love and connection with others as adults. So basically, nobody had a perfect childhood. No, not one person on the planet, because everybody's human, all parents are human, and they all have their own challenges that they go through in their life while they're bringing up their children. So because of this, sometimes children's needs are not met and are consistently not met by their parents or caregivers. So what happens when our core emotional needs for connection and love and understanding and trust and safety are not met on a regular basis in our childhood? Basically, we develop coping strategies. So we start to develop the inner idea that it's not possible for these needs to be met. We might also develop the idea that there's something wrong with us and that's why these needs are not being met. And we therefore then develop some different coping strategies to survive in the world while these needs are not being met. And the problem arises when we come into adulthood. We still have these coping strategies and we're still not having these needs met. So instead of actually recognizing that, hey, actually that was really smart that I developed these coping strategies as a child, because I was in an environment where my emotional needs, my needs for connection, trust, love, understanding, safety, security, perhaps not all these needs were met, and so I developed these coping strategies, which at that time was a really effective way of managing and getting through life. But now I'm an adult, I'm actually able to own my needs, I'm able to recognize my needs, and I'm able to reach out to other adults to get these needs met. But if we haven't consciously gone through the process of checking in with our inner self and connecting with our inner child to basically unravel these coping strategies that we may have developed, then we just might find that we're on a kind of a repeating loop in our adult relationships where we're reaching out for connection and love, and we're just finding it really hard to get those needs met. It may be because we just have a program running in the background of our consciousness, which is a protection program which we developed as children when we recognized that it was really difficult for us to get these needs met with our parents or caregivers. So what are our core needs as children? What are the core needs that need to be met for us to feel safe and well in childhood? So I use this therapy model called NARM to describe these core needs, and then to investigate the ways in which perhaps these core needs were not met or neglected in your childhood. So the NARM model was developed by a therapist called Dr. Lawrence Heller, and it stands for it's an acronym that stands for Neuro Affective Relationship Model. So Neuro Affective Relationship Model. So it's basically looking at the patterns in our brain that develop in childhood based on the relationship, the quality and the nature of the relationships that we have with our parents or caregivers, and also perhaps our school environment and teachers. So according to NARM, the five core needs that we have as children in order to feel safe and well in our relationships with others are connection, attunement, trust, autonomy, and for our love and sexuality to be allowed. Particularly that is when we are coming into puberty. So just to go through these needs, the first need, connection, we need to feel that we belong in the world, that we are in touch with our body and emotions and capable of consistent connection with others. So this is a really basic need for connection with self and others. Second need is attunement. So our ability to know what we need and to recognize and reach out for and take in the abundance that life offers. So this second need, attunement, is basically about attuning to your inner self and knowing what you need in terms of food, shelter, resources, love, connection. It's aligning with yourself and listening to your own needs and being able to reach out and get them met. The third core need we have as children is trust. So we have an inherent trust in ourselves and others. We feel safe enough to allow healthy interdependence with others. So we trust that our caregivers, our parents, are there for us, they want the best for us, and they are looking out for us. They are there for us, and we trust that their choices they're making for us are the best ones. Our fourth core need as children is the need for autonomy. So this need is all about our individuality being respected and our own particular individual core needs and desires being respected. So we are able to say no and set limits with others without losing our connection with them. So if you have any codependent habits in your relationships, then this core need as a child may not have been met for you. You may have felt that you were not able to say no to your parents or caregivers, that you are not able to say no and set limits while still maintaining connection. You may have felt that you had to always acquiesce to the will and desire of other people in order to stay connected with them. So we speak our mind without guilt or fear. This is our need for autonomy. It's our need for our individuality, our individual desires and needs and wants to be respected by our adult caregivers. And our fifth core need is love, sexuality. Our heart is open and we are able to integrate a loving relationship with a vital sexuality. So particularly obviously when we are in puberty, it's really important that our parents mirror a healthy sexuality for us and allow us that space to develop as sexual beings without judgment or criticism or shaming of us for that part of our nature, which is integral to every human being. It's a completely normal, integral part of our nature. But if we might have been shamed for our sexuality or the way we behaved as we're developing in puberty, then we may have developed a coping strategy in later life which says that us as sexual beings, we are not fully welcomed in the world, and so we need to maintain protection or shut down that part of us, that sexual part of us, in order to stay safe. So NARM, the Neuro Affective Relational Model, says that to the degree that these 5 basic core needs are met in childhood, we experience regulation and connection. We feel safe and trusting of our environment, fluid and connected to ourselves and others. We experience a sense of regulation and expansion. So regulation and expansion. So we're connected both internally with ourselves. We trust ourselves. We're connected also externally with our parents and caregivers. There's a line of trust and respect there. And because of this inner and outer trust, we are able to expand and grow as human beings. So it then says, to the degree that these needs are not met, we develop survival styles to try to manage the disconnection and dysregulation. So if one or more of these 5 core needs of connection, attunement, trust, autonomy, love, sexuality are consistently not met in childhood, then that's when we develop different strategies to manage the emptiness and the pain which results inside of us when these core needs are not met. And so that basically turns into different patterns of relating that we have as adults, which might be preventing our full connection in a loving relationship with either your friends or an intimate partner or even your colleagues at work, because you have developed these coping strategies based around those one or more of those 5 core needs not being met. Then you are basically kind of playing small. You are a little bit of a shrunken version of yourself, because you still have these coping strategies which become patterns running in the background of your consciousness, and they then manifest outwards in your life as difficulties in relationships with people. So if this resonates with you, then I have an inner child workshop coming up on the April the 23rd and April the 30th. So 2 Saturdays in a row, 2 hours each Saturday. And during these 2 workshops, I will be taking you through a deeper understanding of this NARM model, this Neuro Affective Relational Model, and we will go through each of these 5 core needs, and I will cover the coping strategies that you might have developed over time in your childhood in order to deal with these needs not being met. So I will basically explain what each of these coping strategies are, the hallmarks, the signs the manifestations in your outer life of these coping strategies that you may have developed in childhood. And then I'll also be sharing with you different ways for working with unraveling these coping strategies for these 5 different core needs, ways that you can work with your inner self and in your relationships to unravel any of these coping strategies that you might recognize in yourself. And this process, obviously it will take time, but these 2 workshops will give you probably some deeper insight to perhaps some themes or patterns that are recurring in your life that might feel like they are preventing deeper connections and relationships with the people in your life. So once you have an understanding of these coping strategies that you may have developed and a roadmap, a pathway to unraveling these coping strategies so that you can slowly open up to trusting connection, to trusting relationship, to being attuned with your inner self, to allowing the full expression of your love and sexuality, then things can really open up in your life in a much bigger way than before, on all levels too, not just relationships, also self-expression, also your work in the world, your impact in the world. This is a really big game changer. It will change everything for you if you are able to start unraveling any of these coping strategy patterns that you may have developed. So I'm going to put details for these 2 workshops down in this video below. You can sign up on Eventbrite. It's a very reasonable price, and it will be delivered on Zoom. Both of them will be delivered on Zoom, and there are only 10 places because I want to make sure that I give the appropriate time and energy to each person in the workshop. And because of this, I have to limit it to 10 people. So I would love to, if this resonates with you, if it feels like it might be helpful for you, then I would love to see you at these workshops and go through this process with you. So thank you so much for listening, watching. I hope this has been useful for you. And if you didn't watch the first video on neediness, which I'll put a link to here or here, then also please watch this video on neediness to get a little bit of a deeper understanding of what I've been talking about today. Thanks for watching. Taking a deep breath into your heart center, feeling that beautiful prana energy fill you up with love. Exhale, and sending you lots of love today and wishing you a beautiful day. I will see you next time.